excited to do this live
I
with you.
am too. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone, also.
Thank you for being here. So I kind of like gave the story a little bit about how when you first came in, it was like the clarity. We were wanting to be clear, and I love how like our interaction started in the DMs because it was like should I join? Should I is this right for me? Is this going to work? Like there was a lot of back and forth. And I love that because now when I witness you, now when we're interacting, when we're together, what's coming through is such clarity. Your intuition is coming through. You're following your intuition. You know what to do. You know what 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 guidance to follow, but it's not coming from the outside. It's coming from the inside. So I'm going to just let you take it here. And if you can share how you started, how you felt before you started, because I think that's so huge. Because I could feel it. Like I could feel us when we were talking in the messages and the DMs. I could feel that energy of just not being able to hear the intuition, not being able to hear the downloads, the transmit, just blocked. That's how I started. So that's why I can really relate to this, because I've been there and I know what that feels like. And I know that there's so many people that are watching this live right now that are in that spot right now. So if you could just share how you felt before you started, why you decided to message me, your story, and then we can just take it from there.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for setting that up. So I started, without going into too much detail, my life has been one where I was pretty successful, fairly successful in my younger age in school and things that I picked as endeavors. So I never really had a struggle with too many things. And once I graduated college, everything just seemed to turn around, do a total 180 for me. And I was always looking for something, whether it was religion, whatever it was, working out more, anything physical. And I just kept scratching and clawing and I never stopped. But and I'm reading, I'm sure you probably read the book. I'm reading Letting Go by David Hawkins. And he talks about all these people doing these things too. And I just knew that there was something in me that I kept hearing it, and it was my intuition. I didn't know at the time. Your life is worth more than this. You know that you have to be doing something else, but you just don't know what it is. So I always had that feeling of stuckness, and I never knew what it took to get out of it. And then I went into law of attraction, whatever it was, but I never really got results. And you mentioned that too. I never really got results. So, and if I did, they were very fleeting. They were okay. It would come into my reality and then it would leave, or it would kind of like balance itself back out to the previous reality. And I couldn't understand why I was going around in this circle. And I had this overwhelmment, this stuckness. And that led up to meeting you and seeing some of your content online. But what stuck out for you was several things that helped me too, because I come from a background of business and sales. And in business and sales, that's one thing that I know I didn't like. I like helping people on a genuine level. I want to have deep conversations with them. I'm sure you know that about me by now. I ask a lot of questions. I'm just very, very deep with everything I like to do. And I feel like sales is not always, don't get me wrong, obviously, but it's very hollow and it's very transactional. And I think that's what pushed me to look for something else. And one thing I liked about you, so that led up to some of your content. Some of your content was a little different, but it still had that lingo of speaking towards how to transcend, how to live the life that you want is basically the underpinning emotion of what I was looking for, because I knew I wasn't living the life that I wanted. And I feel like getting to know you, I have a lot of similarities to you too, obviously different details, but your life was very similar in certain ways to mine. So I looked at your profile, I looked at what you were doing, I saw the results that you got, I saw that it was evident, it wasn't nonsense, it wasn't any kind of marketing tool to get me to, and then everything from there was consistent with my interaction with you, and it was deep and it was real, and I could feel that on some levels, because in sales there's always these, oh, talk to them and you never pushed me to like, oh, well, sign up for this and do that. You said, I remember one thing that stuck out to me very specifically on one of the messages you sent me, because you said, just listen to your heart. And if that's what you want to do to sign up for this course, then go ahead and do it. And you left it up to me. And coming from the background, like I said, from business and sales, we're taught to like basically spin a narrative on people for the most part. And I don't like doing that. And when you told me that, I think that already started me living in another timeline, because now I'm following my heart. I'm following the way I like to do things. I don't really like to force people into things. I like to let people do whatever it is they want to do. And that resonated with me. I go, okay, now I feel the way I want to feel. So I said, okay, I have the ability to trust this person and what they're saying, because they're not trying to force me to buy something or get me to sign up for something or put me on an hour-long phone call about whatever it is. So I went with the course, and I came in with the course, and I came in with all this doubt because I had accumulated all this doubt through my career, through all these. And when I tell you I went through looking for things and trying things, I'm talking about years. I'm talking about 10, 12 years, where obviously it wasn't as bad and it went through peaks and valleys, but nevertheless, I went through like 10, 12 years where I felt lost from about like 22 years old. So like when I graduated college. And I always knew that there was something in me that was saying, well, you're worth more than this. You can do more than sales. That that's not what you really like to do. But I always did that to survive. So again, I entered the survival state, and then everything you were talking about in your courses, fight or flight, survival. I just noticed that that's where my energy was at. But there was a reason that it was that way, and that was my intuition connecting with you, because you have the answers. So I liked that, and we went through the course. Now, going forward, we went through the course, and as I started to go through the course, I had my doubts, and that was because it was an accumulation of energy that I had been carrying around with me, and I knew that it had affected me. And one thing about me is I'm very logical, and I had done meditations and everything, so my awareness logically was there, but I knew there was some chasm between, okay, I have these logical understandings, and you mentioned that too. You had these understandings, but yet something wasn't transcending, something wasn't making its way over to where your life was changing. And ultimately, it was the energy and the work. And through what we do and through your course, you just told me one thing that resonated with me through the course. Just if you can stay consistent, which I've luckily for me, I've always had that ability, whether it's working out in my career, whatever, I can stay consistent. If you tell me what to do, I will do it. And that's basically what that staying consistent. And the other thing that really affected me was just give me your best. And I'm like, if those are the only two things I can control that I need to control, I can control those things. And if that will get me to where I want to go, then I know I can get there eventually. It might be rough in the beginning, which in some ways it was, because I was still carrying that energy of doubt. And within this course, I was able to transmute that, just like you said in your post, right? You can transmute the energy. So I know that it's real now. So now I don't have that doubt. I'm sure it's still there to some degree. Like you say, we're never done and we're never perfect. But that was something I was discussing with you the other day, is it's beautiful in the sense that I'm happy that there's still stuff there, because now I know what I can do to get it and remove it. And I have the confidence within that. So I don't have that sense of, oh, I don't know what I need to do. Again, going back to, I wasn't clear. There was doubt. There was whatever kind of energy was mixed up in there. So I just stayed consistent and I gave it my best. And it really helped me. It really helped me, because people have noticed that I'm different. I feel different when I approach things. I don't feel like it's, again, in that fight or flight, like, oh, my whole world's going to crumble if I don't get this done or whatever it is. It's very clearing, and I'm very thankful for it, and I wanted to thank you for it.
Thank you, James. So can you share a little bit, because this is the gap. People know this information. They know it. They've read the books, they've gone to the workshops, they watched The Secret, they did the vision board. People that are watching this live right now, they know this information. what do you feel like was the bridge between knowing this information and actually transmuting the energy of doubt, transmuting the energy of fight or flight, survival? That is so profound, because if I'm in fight or flight, if I'm in survival, if I'm in doubt, I'm going to have thoughts that are equal to that energy, because I think how I feel, and that's going to create my entire reality. So my entire reality is going to be one of fight or flight, survival, doubt, not sure, confusion. So how what did we do? What did you do to get this in your body and to transcend this way of being, so that you have that clarity, you have that self-trust, you have that confidence? Doesn't I don't mean that we're perfect or that we're done. It's coming through, and it's so exciting to witness in you and watch. So what did you do for that?
For me, I can't take any of the credit. I give all the credit to the universe and the components that it put in my path, like yourself, Aliza, the posts that I've seen, other people that I follow. I'm not that kind of guy. That's, yeah, I put in the work in that sense, but I like to, we talk about gratitude. Gratitude is one of the best feelings I think in the world, and I give all credit to the universe. But to answer your question, it did a lot for me once I put in the work. And one thing you talk about is falling in love with the work. So if I can expound upon that, it was funny because, again, I come from this sales background. I come from this business background it's, in my opinion, it's very transactional. It's never about, well, for me, at least me, there was only so far that I could really love about the work in sales. And even then, it's kind of like you love the transaction of it, right? Like, oh, well, I'm getting something out of it. It's very transactional. So for me, the profoundness came in learning to listen to your heart and hearing that intuition and just conceding to it. And after a while, it becomes an amazing experience. And at first, I didn't know what it was because, again, I was following and saying, okay, I hear this voice inside of me that says, there's more to life, keep going, keep trying. And then it led me to you. And then it led me to our conversation before I even signed up. And then I was doing that. So it actually makes the voice more clear. And that's what I think the biggest, if if I can say from my experience at least, the biggest uh, facet that will get you to where you want to go and not just make it, and you talked about it too, I think in the course, was these, they can't just be thoughts, they can't just be concepts, they can't just be in the logical mind. It has to move from the logical mind to energy and emotion and all those other type of quantum kind of theories. But for me, it was just clearly listening to my heart. And every time I did, it got better and better. So at first it was, okay, like, look at this person's, meaning you, look at your profile, and then go ahead and go forth with the course. And then you helped with that. And I'm telling you, that was very profound that you told me, listen to your heart. Because you didn't tell me, well, sign up if you're interested, or, well, don't sign up. I don't know if you're not interested, or you did, you know. You told me, just listen to your heart. And that's what started me really trying to hone in on that. And then another thing I did was, when we went through the course, it was a little hard for me at first because I felt like I was breathing. And I think I have this heart wall, and you helped with that also. And then through time it's dissipated, but I had this heart wall, and I would always go to this meditation that we had, where you start by trying to get the heart open and listening to the heart. And I would just listen, and if I didn't hear anything or feel any real connection, I just let it go, let it be what it was, right? Just, I'm giving my best, that's all I can control, and I'm here and I'm consistent, that's all I can control. Everything else will be done by the universe. And then I started to notice that that built my trust. And then as soon as I built my trust, I could hear it a little bit more. Obviously I want to hear it more than I can right now, but I started to hear little things like, okay, do this meditation more often than this meditation. So I would always go back to that one, the one with the heart, in week 2. And then once I started to do that more, it started to develop that skill within me. And then I started to hear things like, okay, you're going a little hard in your meditations, you're breathing really hard, and that's okay because you're giving it your best, which is what I'm used to doing. But how about having more compassion for yourself? So then I heard compassion a lot, and then I started to kind of be more compassionate in the things that I did or in myself or in my self dialogue and in my meditation. So I didn't breathe as hard. And what was ironic was within that first week, maybe within one of the first two sessions too, that heart wall, because at first when I was breathing really hard in the meditations, it was always kind of hard to get the energy flowing up here. But as soon as I became more compassionate with myself and within the meditation, not breathing so hard, but still giving my best, it was able to let the energy travel and flow more. And because of that, now my heart wall is down. It's not the way it was before. And I can listen to my heart more. So that's been the biggest thing, listening to your heart, your intuition, your inner child, whatever anybody wants to call it. They're very similar in scope. So that's been the biggest thing for me. And then it helps transmit the energy. And then it's just a beautiful process from there, because the thing I wanted to end on was, in the beginning, you said, hey, when you fall in love with the process, that's when everything just flows. And flow is one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced in my life. So when I first heard that, I was new to the whole process, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was still thinking transactional, right? Logical. Oh yeah, nah, like I just want something out of this and it's not going to change. That's how I know I've really changed, because I actually just like doing it and I don't really expect necessarily something. It's more just like I'm happy knowing that I'm just bettering myself and getting closer to who I am, and I don't put so much pressure on, okay, well, it has to be this and it has to be that. And I know that's coming from a real deep transmutation of the energy, because the old me is not like that, not in any sense. The old me is very, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to have this, I have to be this, I have to. The new me is, I'm happy where I'm at right now and I look forward to where I'm going, and I'm actually thankful for the things that happened in my past, instead of I wish that never happened to me. So that's how I could really tell I'm changing, and it's because I was able to just be more compassionate. A lot of people told me in my past too that, James, you're really hard on yourself. And that's what I used to motivate myself, the old me. So I didn't know how to be any different to try to get what I wanted, other than being really hard on myself. But it was really suppressing a lot of emotions. And when I was able to release those emotions, I was able to just say, I am the best I am right now, and I know I can get better every day. So I don't need to force this and tire. And you talk about that in the meditations too. Don't tire yourself out. Don't do things that are like not gonna allow you to be consistent or make you give up. Just give your absolute best that you can right now and be consistent. And that's what I did. And that's how everything came together for me.
Your shares are giving me chills. They're so profound. There's so many golden nuggets here. There's so much wisdom, such profound message coming through. So if you're watching this, you're going to have to go and watch it again and maybe even take notes, because what we're taught is we're taught to push, or taught to try, or taught to have a plan, work that plan. Whoever works the hardest is going to get the goal. We're taught all these things. And this work is the exact opposite, which is why so many people, I feel, struggle with this work, is because they're listening to their analytical mind, which is the programming. So any voice that's coming through, any chatter that you hear, is the analytical mind. That's the programming. And if we listen to that voice, if we listen to that chatter, it's going to always steer us into survival, into fight or flight, anxiety, overwhelm, confusion. So it's a completely different way of living. It's a completely different way of being. And that's where you get the results, is by shifting your way of being, your way of living. It's a complete lifestyle change. So what would you say? And if you guys have questions, type them in the chat. We have 20 something people on here, James. So if you guys have questions, type them in the chat. Vera Divine says, so happy for your breakthrough, brother. brother.
you.
So
Thank you.
happy for your breakthrough, brother. And we have we've got quite a bit. Yep, we love the theta brainwave. So Belief Minnow says, can you speak a little bit on that, James? So can you speak a little bit on more of the actual skills that you learned that allowed you to develop that skill of listening to your heart, your intuition, the divine guidance within you, and to follow it? Can you speak a little bit on
I'll
that?
be honest with you on that. I'm still honing that, and I hope I get a lot better. That's one of the things that I'm actually looking towards now, is just trying to really hear it clearly and be able to channel it and know that it is it. Because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I still hear things, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should do that, so I still don't know. So I'll be honest, I can't necessarily give you an exact, okay, this is what it sounds like. One thing that I will say is, for me, I was just consistent with what you asked us to do. I showed up pretty much literally every single day since we've started. In week one, I've done my meditation every day. Sometimes I don't post it on Facebook, but I do. I do it every single day. I forget to post it, but I do every single day, and that's why I've fallen in love with the process. So again, that's one thing. Then throughout the process, I learned to listen to my heart a little bit more, which was saying you need to be compassionate with yourself, which meant in my meditation also, which meant maybe not trying to breathe so hard. So if that's one thing I could identify also that maybe cognitively I hadn't before, was maybe not trying so hard. And you were mentioning that leading into this question was, and again, I was programmed to be that way. I'm sure a lot of people are. You just give it your absolute all, especially in sports. I come from a sports background, so I'll give everybody another example. So for me, I was in sports, football, basketball, baseball, that you could use your aggression to your advantage a lot in those sports, right? You hit the ball harder, you throw it farther, you create separation from your opponent, whatever it is, right? At least me, I was able to use that aggression and channel it and help me to be a better athlete. But once I got older, I started to play sports like golf, which I'm still horrible at golf, by the way. But I started to notice that I can't use my aggression in this sport. There has to be something, it has to be a more finesse kind of side of me that does it. So for me, in my meditation, I said, why don't you just finesse it and feel what that feels like? And I'm telling you, literally within the first or second session of being more compassionate, I was able to have a better rhythm. And because I was able to have a better rhythm and I wasn't forcing it, now the brain waves become deeper and they come to you easier. And that's when you're able to feel that separation, get that healing. By the way, I've healed my body in the sense that I'm more agile. My back, lower back, I've had lower back problems. My lower back doesn't hurt as much. My hips don't hurt as much. I'm more active. I was getting to a point where I didn't like working out that much anymore, even though I had my whole life. And I'm working out again more consistently and being more active. But going back to the process and the meditation, so not being so difficult with myself allowed everything to flow easier. And once it flowed easier, I just accepted it and allowed it. So that's one thing. And I, other than that, to me, it's just really being consistent and allowing the universe to do its part, and you do your part. And to be honest with you, I can't really describe it any other way yet. Not yet, at least. Hopefully, within more time of meditation, I'll be able to see exactly what it is that'll help me go further in that part of my journey. But right now, it's just kind of that I guess that much of an observation that I have.
Thank you, James. And I love how you shared your body healed. That's so profound because the body is the subconscious mind. So if there's pain in the body, if there's an illness, a disease, it's the subconscious mind speaking to the person. So there's some kind of, usually there's usually some kind of trapped energy that's causing disease, which is disease in the body. So that trapped energy causes dis-ease, right? So then all of a sudden the disease shows up. So I just love these stories, because if your body healed, then your subconscious mind has changed. And if your subconscious mind has changed, and the subconscious mind is creating over 95% of reality, which it is, that means that your reality is different. So if we stay consistent, if we stay true to the work and sincerely try to go deeper, it's a sincere effort of going deeper, staying consistent, then it's only a matter of time before everything in that mind movie or crystal clear intention, vision board, perfect day, whatever you're using, shows up. It's only a matter of time before it shows up, and it's going to show up in a complete unknown, unexpected, synchronistic, divinely aligned, divinely timed way. And I think one of those things for you that's already starting to come through is your purpose work. Now, if you want to share on that, feel free. If you don't want to share on that, you don't share on it. But this is just from us working together, being on the Zooms together, just hearing your shares. Would you like to share on that at all? If you don't want to, you don't have to. But that's just what I've been seeing in you.
No, I would love to share on that, because that's the whole reason that I got in the course, as a matter of fact, is because I could hear clearly, and I've gone through things in my life that I knew I was worth more, and I knew that there was more to life than the things that I was enjoying and that were very fleeting and didn't give me much of a sensation or joy after acquiring it, quite honestly. So with all that being said, without going too deep into my story, my biggest wish, dream, desire, whatever you call it, was really just being able to learn what it is that really gets people their desires. Because like I said, and I'm summarizing everything very, very shallow, because I don't want to go into details and bore people and tell a whole story, but nevertheless, I just wanted to know. My whole life I've been a very curious person. I remember you told the story about when you were younger and some things that you experienced, but my whole life, one of my things is, and I think it's all put in our heart, and there's certain things that I believe, but anyhow, I've always been a very curious person as to how things work. How did this person go from poor to rich? How did this person go from rich to poor? How did this person do this? How did this happen? How did this person get this idea for this? All these things, that's just the way my mind works. And it's not in the way that's, oh, why did that happen to that person? And how come it didn't happen to me? It was more just like a very curious, like, I like to know why. And it was a very neutral kind of thing, not bad or good. And through all my readings and everything, one of the things that has stuck with me was uh, a lot of the work that we're in the field that we're in. I don't know if you call it new age or spiritual or whatever anybody would call it. A lot of the things I would say is you have to be like a child, and a lot of people refer to being like a child as just being curious and kind of being neutral. And I go, well, I've kind of always had that, and I stopped developing it for a while. But when I got it back and started listening to my inner child, my heart, my real desires, I started to notice, well, I want to learn how this works so that I can really internalize it and first see that it works, because I'm a scientist in that way. See that it works so that I can apply it in my life to be happy, and know that it works and know it very well so that I can share it with other people. Because at times in my life, I experienced tremendous pain in my life. Obviously, it was emotional, because that's all everything really boils down to, emotion and energy. So I didn't know why all this was coming into my life. Obviously, I learned different things, right? It's emotional, it's energy, it's subconscious. But before I really knew all those things, I was lost. And one thing you do mention too in the work is you kind of forget that old life, and that's starting to happen to me. You kind of forget it, but you remember small pieces of it. And I'm thankful that even though I don't feel that tie, that emotional hurt anymore, because that happens through the work, it starts to dissipate, right? Like that hurt, that pain starts to dissipate. But I'm still thankful that I can remember enough of it to remember that I would say, if I could find the way to get to where I want to go, I will always, always want to fully invest myself in that and give it back to other people, because I don't want anybody to feel the way I used to feel when I was lost and when I was confused. So that's what keeps me going, and that's what's in my heart. And it helped me develop that feeling again, like I could do this, because I had lost that feeling. And I'm not necessarily where I want to be yet. To conclude now, I'm not necessarily where I want to be yet, but I feel like I'm learning so much, and I'm just getting wrapped up in the vortex, and I could feel myself getting pulled by that energy to go into it, and I could feel myself on the precipice of it. And I still have some doubt, I'm not going to lie, but it feels good to at least know that I found something finally that works. And we talked about, again, law of attraction, not getting results really. Now I'm like, okay, I know something works. So now I can have that confidence to talk to people like, hey, what about trying this? What about looking at that? And then I know for a fact, because just from listening to my heart and being in the meditation, the universe will do the rest. And that's one thing I wanted to mention too. It's such a beautiful dance between the two, where it's like, we're so, at least in my life, I was conditioned, you have to do everything. It gets exhausting, it gets tiring, and I hated that life. And I felt at 30, I was only like 32 or 33 a couple of years ago, and I already felt worn down in life. I'm like, man, I feel exhausted, because I was used to doing everything on my own. I didn't feel like I was getting help from. Now it's, I'm telling you, it's almost like a 180. I feel like things just come to me. And to me, that's the best part, because I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm connected to someone. Someone hears me. Someone understands me. Someone's giving me the knowledge or the people or the resources that I need to go to where my heart is going to be fulfilled. And that's the best part to me.
It's so exciting because I love your words. You know you're on the it's right there. You know it's all coming through. And that's the opposite of stuck. That's the opposite of not sure, stuck, survival. It's the opposite of survival. You're in thriving. You're excited. You're in thriving. And that is such a profound shift in a way of being. So I'm so excited for you. I know what happens here when somebody starts speaking like this, because our words, it's our frequency. So however I'm speaking, that's my frequency. So when I hear you say I'm excited, I know I'm on the cusp of it. I know this is it. This is it. I found it. I'm going to go deeper, and I'm going to help people. It's very different than I think, or I'm not sure, I'm wondering, I hope. These are very two different frequencies. So is there anything that you want to leave people with or say? How can they follow you as well? Because they're going to want to follow you. They're going to want to be a part of your journey if that's in alignment with you. Uh, what? How do you want to end this?
Sure. Yeah. One thing I want to say is my personal, I can't remember. I'm so THEE James JYMES Castillo CASTILLO Instagram. And then I had one last year. I was trying to just do random videos to help people out, just food for thought kind of thing. I have one on there too. I think it's so THEEJC, J as in James, C as in Castillo. I can't remember. I can't remember that one. I haven't really accessed that one. But anyways, that's how you could follow me. But beyond all that, the thing that I wanted to leave people with, and I'm glad you mentioned that, is I I had gotten so worn down in life, and I had tried so many things. I'm not joking. I tried so many things, and I gave it my due diligence too. I'm not telling you I tried something for 10 minutes and quit. I I've tried, even in my career. I started to get into my career to where I was extremely unhappy. My results weren't as good as when I first started in sales, and it started to really seep into all facets of my life. And I knew I needed to have something. And I was in that stage of neediness. And even through that, the universe and yourself were able to help me. And one thing I want to impart people with is, with all that doubt that I had accumulated, with all that doubt, that hurt, that pain, all the stuff that I had been through, and to reach this level and have all that doubt and come into the practice with that doubt, and within less than what, 6 weeks, whatever it was, maybe a little bit over a month, I'd say around the 6th week is where I started to really feel that momentum shift. Within 6 weeks, to not, and when I'm telling you I don't have that doubt, it's still going to be there to a degree, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. We're constantly working to get to perfection, but we'll never be perfect in that sense. But that's the beauty again, and that's a different conversation. But nevertheless, to not only conceptually not feel that way, right? The logical mind doesn't necessarily have those thoughts anymore, but I don't feel that feeling of it, because I'm telling you, before I could conceptually say, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now, and I know I feel like a failure or a loser or whatever it is that I used to feel, right? But I didn't know what to do with those thoughts. That's the biggest difference for me. I didn't know what to do with those thoughts and how to really effectively get rid of them, make them work for me, let them go, whatever kind of terminology you want to use. In essence, it's transmuting energy, right? That's all it boils down to. So in essence, I didn't know how to transmute that energy. But now that I have the work to help me transmute that energy, it has not only helped me logically change my mind, and you could tell by the terminology that I use, but energetically and emotionally feel like it's not there either. And that's the biggest difference, because when I would be able to be aware, because I used to meditate, well, I still do, but just meditate where you sit, where you throw out your thoughts 15, 20 minutes. I could see, or journal even, that helps. I could see what the thoughts were constantly, but not really know what to do with them, and still see myself go round and round in the same patterns. And I'm like, okay, but I'm doing the meditation, I'm doing the journaling, like it should be able to get out. And it was very slowly, but this work helps it exponentiates that. And when I'm able to do the work, I know that I'm going deep enough and I'm letting everything out. And for me, that's the biggest thing. It's not just a concept anymore. It's a feeling that I don't have, or feelings that I do get. And what I mean by do get is, so the other day, I had two things. I was actually going to send this to you on Instagram the other day, but I didn't, in a message. There's two things that I noticed have changed now also is, and again, you tell us, their thoughts of either abandonment, not worthiness, like everybody's different what they go through, right? So I had very severe trust issues also. So there was a instance where I don't know what it was. There was something, and I felt like I couldn't trust something, and I could hear it in my mind. Again, I've been able to do that for a while, where I could hear those thoughts in my mind. But then when I heard it, now I know how to transmute the energy quick enough to where it doesn't hurt me so much, or I don't feel trapped in that feeling. And that's when I knew I was really changing too. Is I could hear myself say, okay, I can trust you. It's okay. I can trust you. I feel that. And then there was another thing that happened where I could hear myself saying, I'm not worthy of this. And immediately when I felt that, I stopped. It was like a little pause. And then I go, no, I am worthy. And those are two things. Those are two instances that I never used to hear those kinds of thoughts logically in my head. So I go, if I'm hearing these thoughts logically in my head come out logically where I could hear them, that must mean it's already in the subconscious, and it's just developing more and more. And that was like, I still feel it right now. I'm like, wow, that is a game changer right there. So I wanted to impart people with, I wanted to sum it up. I know that was a long explanation, but if I can get into this program, into this practice with that much doubt, and go from where I was, and because it's trackable. It's not, I'm not making this up. I would ask questions like, well, am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Are you sure? I would ask you all the time, like if I was a nervous wreck, which in some ways I was. Now I can trust you, James. I trust your inner being, or your inner child. You are worthy enough. now I can hear those thoughts consciously, which I'm telling you, it means that it's already in the subconscious. It's just developing more and more. So that is a testament to the work, to who everything that you've done for me, how great you've been, and just everything that the universe has been able to put in my path. And once again, just gratitude and being humble is one of the best things I love to feel. So I'm humbled by the universe, and I'm thankful for everything that I've gone through and for your help and actually really giving me a tool that really does work. It's not just put a vision board up and no, this is real. So thank you.
Thank you, James. You're welcome. You're so welcome. I want to give you a hug right now. I'm going to give you a phone hug.
All right. Me too.
I'm so excited for you. I know what happens when somebody gets out of survival, out of fight or flight, hustle, grind, trying, and they truly embody thriving, abundance, overflow. Doesn't mean we're perfect. Doesn't mean we turn into like a robot and we don't feel emotions. Doesn't mean any of that. It means that there's an energy that's moving through you that's now, it's a higher, you can call it a higher power, intuition, source, the universe, Buddha, Jesus Christ, whatever you want to call it.
Your audio went out, Andrea.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you now.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, I didn't get the last minute though.
What I was sharing is that to be able to witness you, watch you, observe you, call all your deepest heart's desires in because you've embodied this work. Once you know how to do it, that's it. You just now you just go deeper. You go deeper into the work. You sincerely make an effort to show up and go deeper into yourself because yourself is the universe. The universe is a hologram. So that means that each of us has the universe within us because we live in a holographic universe or like a simulation, some people like to call it. But each of us has the entire universe within us. So what that means is that if I know the practice, if I know the skills, the practice, the work, then what I can do is I can just go deeper into that and have all the answers come through me, move through me, and I can allow a higher power to lead, guide, and direct me in life. And I can really surrender to this higher power and experience a life of ease, flow, love, gratitude, as opposed to fight, flight, survival, try, hustle, burn yourself out. Two totally different experiences. So I'm very excited for you. Let's see if maybe we can bring you on again, if that's in alignment with you. And follow James. So you should be tagged in here, James. So you can just click on his profile, follow James, stay up with his journey. We also have Meditation Bootcamp Round 3 starting very soon here. So we've got new branding coming out for it. And we're going to go into a pre-sale. So you'll definitely want to be on top of that. So some really exciting things coming. Look out in my stories for all the information. So you can just click on my profile picture to see my stories and it will take you through everything that's coming and what's going on. Also join our email list so you don't miss anything. You don't miss any updates or anything like that. And that's it. Is there one more thing you want to say, James, before we close it out? Like a one sentence that you want to leave everybody with?
I don't know. I just peace and love for everybody. And one sentence: if I can do it, I know you can do it. Just try it. Andrea, you're the best, and trust me, it's gonna be the best thing you do.
All right. I love you. You're amazing.
Love you.
And I'm so excited. So excited for you. We'll bring James on again. Follow James. Stay tuned, guys, because we have round 3 coming up and it's just getting better and better. So you're going to want to be in this one. We're adding things. There's so much coming. So stay up to date in the stories, join our email list, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.